Hey everybody, welcome back to Faith Tech Finance. My name is Angel Bundis, and I want to welcome you to the show. Today we have just a few things I'm going to talk about, just things I want to that may happen kind of in the markets and in our culture and society, and that are really important. Things that are really we should be aware of and we should be thinking about. We should be discussing and talking about with people. I think these are the types of subjects that I know a lot of people shy away from these things. And you get it, right? People don't like talking about religion or politics and things like that, money. But these are the things that drive our lives, right? Like, not that politics, we should be totally consumed by it or anything, but we have to acknowledge that who we vote into power, into leadership, positions of authority, could have real world implications to us in our everyday lives, to our children, and how we manage our finances, all kinds of things, right? Security, whatever it is. And if we are not vigilant, if we're not mindful of these things, and we're not mindful of who we're putting into authority and their agendas and why they, how they think, or why they're going to do certain things, or why would they do certain things, you have to be aware that these people could pass laws, could put other people, other bureaucrats into powers or into authority that, are totally contradictory to your way of life, to your worldview, to the way that you think, to the way that you want to live, to the way that you feel America should be run, and the way we want to live in our free society. And so it's just something that us as Americans, that we have this unique opportunity to engage in who we want who do you want to rule over us? Our society is, and I think the reason why we've been so prosperous is because of our system, our democratic system. And the first 200 years, we protected it, we guarded it, and we tried to make sure that society was as good as it could be, and that we had right leaders in place. And slowly over time, or at least over the last half century, we've just been eroding away at the things that made America great, things that made America strong, the values and the principles of what makes America America, right? Principles of freedom, justice, and truth. And that's pretty much it. Like, just those three main things, are pretty much what, our Bill of Rights is all about, and everything, right? That we're protected, that we can be free, that we can say what we want to say, that no government could come and just take our stuff, this and that. And that, we're protected, right? That we have these rights, that no one can come and do these things to us. And the rules that we have set in place are there for a reason, right? I don't think the framers of our Constitution put those things in there just willy-nilly. I mean, they debated these things for weeks, for months, however long it was. And I think we have to just take great care to protect those things, right? And when we don't, we see how our freedom gets eroded, our security gets eroded, our privacy gets eroded, truth gets eroded. And we see it. Like, one of the biggest things that I think a lot of people don't understand, and why I think one of the reasons why we are the way we are today, and what we're seeing, and one of a couple of the topics that we're going to talk about, after 9/11, because we've been attacked, people were afraid there might be more attacks. And there was, right? There was a lot of things that were going on at the time, and not just here, but in other countries. There was a lot of terrorist acts and things like that. And so, we passed the Patriot Act, right? Also, that we can, all in the name of safety, right? And protection and national security and all that, right? Making sure that we prevented future attacks. And so we did it because we wanted to track the money. And we want to be able to see, are there more cells here? Are there more people here that want to hurt us? Right? Totally understand. And people were afraid. And so, when we're driven by fear, you make stupid choices. So we voted for that. And lo and behold, they start abusing that power. And they start spying on American citizens, right? And people still, to this day, don't believe that's true. But, look at Edward Snowden and what they did to him, right? And these people who what was the other guy, Bradley Manning or whatever. And not that these guys, we're not heroes or anything like that, but I do value the truth. I want to know the truth. And when the government keeps those things from you and does that, how can you trust that government? How can you trust those people, right? When they punish the people that come out and speak the truth. So, do I agree? Did he go against, the rules or ethics or whatever, or the whatever he needs to do of his clearance, whatever, he can't talk about those things. But if we're sitting there doing something wrong, I think they did the right thing. Now, should they still go to jail? Should they do all that? Probably. They shouldn't run like cowards and go to another enemy country, right? I definitely don't agree with that. He should have just said, hey, look, I'm willing to go to jail. I'm willing to die for this because it's the truth and it's important. And I think when people run and cowards and go to another country that wants to hurt us with all this information, now you're a traitor. Now you're for sure a traitor. You would have been a hero have you just gone down and become the martyr, right? And say, hey, I'm willing to die. I'm willing to go to the grave because this truth is more important. The American people are more important. Yeah, but you were selfish and you ran away. So again, I don't necessarily agree with the way things they did, but I do agree that we should know the truth, right? And so when the government doesn't tell you the truth and they show you consistently that they actually lie to you and that they actually want to take advantage of you and they do things, they might say they care, but they do things to subvert you or try to go after you for whatever reason. And that's the stuff that we just have to stand up against because that's our duty as American citizens. It's in our Constitution. It's our obligation. It's our sacred obligation. You think that the founders and not even just the founders, but the revolutionaries, right, during the American Revolution, I mean, they understood, man, that they were fighting for this, right? And once we had the Constitution, once that thing was signed, that was it. People were fighting for this. And those people, the framers of the Constitution that signed their name on it, they knew what they were doing. That was a death sentence, right? So we have to be willing to fight for that Constitution ourselves to that point, right? We have to be willing to give up everything. We have to hold that document, in the highest regard. And when people abuse what that document protects, right, our freedoms, right, when the government abuses us, it's our obligation to stand up and say, no, we're not going to allow that. So that's what we should be talking about. That's what we should be doing. It's hey, they're not sticking to what we all have agreed that is important in our society and the freedoms and the protections that all of us have and that we cherish and that we honor. It's time to get rid of these people. Term limits. I mean, shoot, I don't, I know we're not supposed to discriminate against age and stuff, but man, you got to get some of these geriatric people out of here, man. 80, 90 years old and you're still up there trying to rule a stinking country with people that are, the technology is moving so fast, information is moving so fast, and these people are making decisions and relying on laws that, are antiquated, and they're thinking that in the old way and not thinking about the future, not thinking about innovation and technology and how things are changing. And they need to keep up with this stuff, right? But write smart things, write smart regulations, not your old, party across party lines and I'm going to stick to my guns because this is the way you've always done it. We got to, anyways, don't even get me started. But let's talk about a few things right here because I think this is important. Let's talk about something obviously that happened this week, and today is Thursday, April 6th. This week, Trump was arrested. He was charged 34 ridiculous charges, stacked charges, and they weren't all 34 different things, one thing, and they turned it into 6 things. But, and for full disclosure, okay, I've never voted for Trump. I've never supported him in that way, okay? Full blown. I agree with a lot of his policies, not all of them, okay? But I agree with a lot of his policies. But the thing is, I didn't like his character as a man, the way he was bullying people, some of the things he said. I definitely think the media totally misconstrued a lot of what he said. So I'm not doing that. Me listening to him as a person, as a man, as a Hispanic man, I don't think he's necessarily racist, okay? I personally don't believe that he's racist. He might have some racial undertones. I think we all have biases and things like that. So, whatever. We all have probably a little bit of, I would say, preconceived notions, stereotypes about other cultures, or whatever that we have, and whether you call that racist or whatever, fine, whatever, I don't care. But I don't think the man is racist. And you hear the people that have worked for him in his building and things like that, like janitors and bellhops and or like elevator attendants, things like that. You hear them, they all say like, dude, the guy's solid. He's always kind, caring, give me stuff, like whatever. So never. Don't believe that he's racist, right? But I've never been a supporter. I've never voted for him. I couldn't bring myself to vote for him just because of, let's be honest, right? The womanizing, all that stuff. Pretty much that stuff's all true, right? So I'm not blind to it. I'm not trying to stand up for the guy. Obviously, he has some major character flaws. So I didn't vote for him. But this time, I am voting for him. Okay. And one of the reasons why I didn't vote for him is because as a conservative in California, I feel like my vote basically is pointless, right? But at least, especially for the president and things like that. I vote for all our local elections and bills and measures and things like that. But for the president, right? We're so stinking blue here. My little one red vote is not going to do anything. But this time around, I think every single American should be voting for Trump. If you love freedom, you should be voting for Trump, because what we're seeing today and what's going on is ridiculous, and how they're going after him. They've gone after him for so many things. Again, I'm not a Trump supporter, right? They've gone after him for so many things. The Russia hoax. I'm over here initially thinking like, oh man, they got Trump. Yeah. Wait, what? Oh, that dossier that said that his name was actually paid for by Hillary and the DNC? Oh, what? And the FBI was all in on this. They've been spying on him this whole time? That Obama ordered? Oh, snap. Oh, wait, what? Now they're coming after him for this because he tried to talk to Ukraine about this deal and this and that and trying to get bogus, right? Total bogusness. And it's next thing, they got him. Nope, nothing. And it's just like, man, they're totally just trying to take him out. Any way, shape, or form, they're trying to prevent him from, passing anything or doing any real meaningful work of some of the stuff he wanted to get done. And then after the pandemic, everything, like, just ridiculous, right? Just stupid stuff that was going on. They totally stole the election from him. Let's be honest about that. They forced the lockdowns and kept it going when it didn't need to keep going. And then, mail-in ballots, fraud, all that kind of stuff. Let's be honest. It's all that stuff is going down, right? So I see all this and I'm like, dude, how can there must be something, right? How could they attack this person with so much across the board? All the media, everyone just going after him. And I'm sitting here like, dude, like, this just doesn't seem right, man. I recognize bullying and like attacking. Like I've been accused of stuff that I've never done. And it's like the feeling that you get when you just like, you have no recourse, right? And everyone's against you and you're like holding yourself like, hey, I'm innocent here. Like, this is wrong. So when you see that happen to other people, you recognize it and you're like, dude, this is not right. Something's wrong here. So these arrests, right? It's totally stupid. They couldn't get him on nothing else. And so they're coming after him with this, some dumb DA from New York that campaigned on targeting, on going, I'm going to get him. No matter what, I'm going to get him. So you basically have already declared that this guy's guilty and you're going to find anything possible to get him guilty. Do you guys see after he got arrested or something right before, Pelosi comes out and says something like, oh yeah, basically that he needs to prove his innocence. It's like, excuse me? Hey, do you remember the oath that you took to say you were going to protect the Constitution, honor the Constitution, defend the Constitution? That basically says that you're innocent until proven guilty? What the hell is wrong with us? Like, what's wrong with our stinking leadership here? They're basically saying that he's guilty and he has to prove his innocence. And that's how they treat people. That's how they treated the J6ers. You got to know it's exactly how they're treating them. Have you read the stories of how they're treating those soldiers, those people in there? How the guards are treating them? Like, it's messed up. Again, injustice only towards one side or against their political opponents and things like that. You see that kind of stuff and you just say, why? Why is that going on? There must be something else. Like, why are they trying to stop him? Because why? Because he challenged their power and their authority? Because he challenged the deep state and called them out and said, hey, we're going to clean the swamp, drain the swamp? Because he wants to get rid of all these geriatric, stinking career politicians that just have been squandering all of our resources away, printing money like crazy, wasting money like crazy, becoming millionaires off of a government salary? Like, are you serious right now? How could you become a multi-millionaire off of $100,000-$200,000 a year salary. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Just, you see the investments that they make and all that. You don't think that they're trading off of information that they're getting, right? Off of laws that they know they're going to pass, that are going to benefit one industry or another, or hurt one industry or another, so they can short. You don't think that kind of stuff is going down? You got to know that stuff is going down, man. Come on. We're not blind. We're not stupid, but they try to make us think. They gaslight us and try to make us think that we're crazy. Conspiracy theories. Oh, the vaccine's dangerous. Don't take the vaccine. Oh, you guys are conspiracy theorists. Oh, now look. People dying. My daughter, perfectly healthy, 16-year-old, playing softball, having the time of life. Finally, and she has a sport that she loves, and she's so happy. She gets one shot. Against my will, against my orders, whatever. Subject for another day. All of a sudden, she has myocarditis. All of a sudden, she has heart problems. All of a sudden, she can't play anymore. Perfectly healthy, 16-year-old. And all of a sudden, she has heart problems after one shot? Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. Thing couldn't be trusted. How could you get a vaccine out just in less than a year? And I'm not anti-vax. I gave my kids vax. All the vaccines that I got, I wanted my kids to have. Fine. But I didn't give them that Hep B. I didn't give them the stinking HPV one, all that stuff, all the new ones, all the schedule changes and everything that they did. Why? Because you see this increase in all these childhood problems, ADHD, autism, blah, 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 whatever. So I was like, no, don't take the stupid vax. And they lied to us, right? And now look at all these problems that people are having. People dying suddenly. And you want to sit there and say it wasn't because of the vaccine? Again, they lied to us. So I don't believe anything they're saying. So they're going after Trump because he's basically wanting to stand up and clean house and say, we're not going to deal with this drama. We want to get out. And I think that's the biggest mistake that Trump did. I'm going to be honest with you. I think what he should have done, because the deep state is so ingrained. There's all these career politicians and bureaucrats, these unelected bureaucrats in power. The FBI completely going after him, spying on him. Right? And going after anyone in his circle. They went after everybody who was on his campaign. They went after everyone. They investigated everybody for any little thing. Never have we seen something like this. Never. In the history of our politics, have we ever seen that kind of blatant, overt attacking anyone who was associated with a president, right? Or let's just say a presidential candidate, but a president, a sitting president. They went after everybody. Like weaponizing our justice system, weaponizing like our entire government against them. And so the mistake that Trump did is that he didn't go in and he didn't clean house. He didn't just get rid of everybody and just get rid of the leadership. I mean, I understand that's a tough thing, right? Because you don't want to necessarily leave this big old power vacuum and people of leadership that really know what the heck's going on. But he could have been very strategic. He could have appointed new heads of leadership across the board and said, you know what? You have 6 months to clean up everybody, get everyone out of here, little by little. Figure out who's good, who we need to keep the place running, so new people can come in, get trained up, and get them out. But clean house. That's how you drain the swamp, all right? You have to. But see, he threatened to do it, but he didn't do it, and then they went after him. So he left way too many rogue people, right? All those leaks coming out of the White House and everything, like that's where he went wrong. But I'll tell you what, this arrest has motivated a lot of people. A lot of people that were maybe sitting on the fence, or people like me that were like, I'm not voting for the guy, right? Listen, I believe in our politics, right? Like I said, you should be involved with this beautiful system that we have, that you get to be a part of it. You get to have a say. And I think you shouldn't ever complain about our government or how things are being run if you're not voting. If you don't vote, you don't get a say. You don't say a damn word because you didn't stinking put your finger on it. And if you voted for it, don't say nothing because you stinking got him in there. And if you didn't vote for him, then complain all you want, right? But this is where, we have an opportunity to like make a change. And I think a lot of people like me that weren't going to be voting for him are now totally going to vote for him. Totally going to vote for him because if they want him to not be president so bad that they're willing to break the law and go after him, like, you know what? He needs to be president. There's something like these people are so ingrained and in power that they're willing to do anything, including break the law. Right? including go after us, Americans, conservatives, and things like that, these people got to go. These people got to go. For the betterment of our society, for the long-term future of our society. Look at everything else that's going on. We're going to talk about the next few things. Let's move on to the next subject. This problem that we have right now with our economy, specifically, I want to talk about Operation Choke Point 2.0, the crypto choke point. And if you're not familiar with this, check this out right here, right? So this document here, this firm, well-respected firm, Wilkinson and Ross, I believe it's Wilkinson and Ross. Give me a second here. Let me pull it up. So make sure I say the right thing. Crypto Nightcap. Where's it at? Choke Point. Operation Choke Point. So here, check this out. Cooper and Kirk. That's what it is. Cooper and Kirk. Operation Checkpoint. The federal bank regulators come for crypto. So this is a 37-page document written by lawyers, right, talking about how the U.S. Financial cartel, let's call it, is going after crypto, right? And all the different things that they're doing. They shut down Signature Bank. They shut down all these banks that were crypto friendly. Anyone who bought the new Signature Bank is not allowed to engage in any kind of crypto activity. Companies around the world, banks or governments around the world are choking off crypto on ramps and off ramps. They're trying to stem the flow of money into crypto because they're threatened by it. They're threatened by it because it threatens their rule and authority and power and control. And they rather launch a CBDC that gives them that authority and control and the surveillance and the ability to force you to spend the money, put expiration dates on your money so you have to spend it. You have to put it into the economy, keep it moving. You have to, or they may they decide that, hey, you know what, you're going against our ESG agenda. And so, you know what, sorry, company, we're going to stop your dollars. You're not going to be able to trade until you change these things. Or, hey, guess what? You've been posting stuff online against anti-trans stuff. And so, or you're going against anti-trans stuff. And so we're going to, blacklist you and you won't be able to buy or do anything. Or guess what? You can only buy within 5 miles of your house. Your money won't be good anywhere. They're going to geolocate you and they're going to tag you and say your money's only good here. You can only spend money here. And they can control inflation across smaller regions, not nations now, but across smaller pockets. And they'll try to say that, hey, this is, the CBDC is great. It's going to give you all this economic power. We can put money into your account directly. You can borrow from us directly. No more banks, no more middlemen. And guess what? We can, you want to, we're going to give you stimulus every month. We're just going to give you some money every month so you can take care of whatever you need. UBI. This makes the way for universal basic income, right? CBDCs are going to be touted as like the next greatest thing. And you know what? There are some great things potentially about using some sort of a digital payment system like that. But all the other features, the centralized features, the features that give them the ability to manipulate you and control you and your finances, right? Your life, right? If they can control your money, they can control everything about you. This is why you live and work where you live, right? Because you have a job and you can't leave unless that job lets you, right? Or you're going to lose that job and you have to go figure something else out. But you can't travel, right? Unless your job gives you permission. You can't go on vacation unless your job gives you permission. You want to raise, you want to send your kids to private school, you need them to give you permission to pay you more, right? They need to authorize it. And this is what the government does. Or what they're going to do even more so if they get a CBDC. So they're going after crypto because that challenges them. Because Bitcoin gives people freedom, economic power across the world, anyone in the world. People that don't belong to any one government that is on the approved list, right? So if you're in some third world country in Africa, or you're in Russia, or you're in China, and you're part of a regime, or you live in a country, let's say you're not even part of that regime, you just happen to live in that country. You just happen to lose the birth lottery and you just happen to be born in that place. You have no say in it. That's just your lot in life. And since you're not registered and you don't have a social security number and you're not part of their Western economic financial system, then guess what? They don't want you to have any economic power. And they want to prevent you from being a part of their system. But Bitcoin gives you access to the system of finances. It's like a bank in your hand, in your mind, in your wallet, right? And so now anyone can get access, and they don't have to do KYC and all this other crap. Bitcoin gives you freedom, gives you anonymity, gives you privacy, gives you so much, and they are challenged by that. Because one thing I've learned in my short 43 years of life, born and raised here in Southern California, I've, born in the ghetto. I don't have an education. I'm not college educated or anything like that, but I'm self-educated, and I've done pretty well for myself in my career and in finances and things like that. But one of the things I've learned is that when people have information, they are more powerful. They are more free. And this is why the government and the powerful elite don't want smart, educated, critical thinking people. Because when you start to educate yourself, your mind starts to expand. You start to understand, like, wow, there's so much more. Like, oh no, this can't be right. That doesn't make sense. And no, what they're telling you does not right, because this information over here contradicts completely what you just said. And you can fact check them, and you can call them out. You call their BS, and they don't like that. That challenges their power. That challenges their authority. And so they don't want people that are smart, critical thinkers, problem solvers, that can think for themselves, that are not sheeple. They're not easily coerced and manipulated. Because let's be honest, that's exactly what they do. They coerce and manipulate you every day. In the media, the propaganda that you see, they all spouting the same stuff. They're all reading from the same script. You've seen those videos, right? Where all these news organizations from all these different places around the country all saying the exact same thing. Because it's all part of a narrative. It's part of a script. They're trying to control you, trying to manipulate you to believe what they want you to believe. You know what I'm saying? So when people start thinking for themselves, this challenges them. And Bitcoin does that. Because now you're starting to learn about money and how it works. Oh, wait, I don't need a bank. Oh, wait, I don't need to do this. I can do this instead. I don't have to rely on their crappy system that's centralized, that these banks are falling apart. Yeah. It's a giant freaking Ponzi scheme. Let's be honest. Don't even get me started. That's the show for another day. But this crypto choke point, this is what they're doing. They're trying to stifle the money flowing into the crypto ecosystem because they're scared of it. They know they will lose control. It will be a direct challenge to their broken monetary system. So this is why we should, hey, they're telling us not to vote for Trump to get Trump out. No, I'm voting for the guy. That's the guy I want. I mean, I would prefer DeSantis, to be honest with you. But I just think DeSantis will lose to Trump in the primary. So if DeSantis wins the primary, absolutely. I think he's way better. He's much more stable. I think what he's doing in Florida is amazing. The way he's going after, all this crazy wokeness. Like, I love that. Let's do that. Let's get out. Let's get back to some common freaking sense sanity in our culture, because what we have right now is ridiculous. So you guys need to be aware. When the government's sitting there telling you, hey, don't do that, that's bad, don't do that, sorry, government, you've lost all credibility. So I'm going to think for myself, and I'm going to go do research, and then I'm going to figure out that you're full of crap, and I'm going to do the exact opposite of what you're telling me to do. So go out there, go do the research. And if you're not invested in crypto, and if you don't know about crypto, educate yourself. And if I have classes. I actually offer a free basic crypto class. I used to charge for it. Now I'm just give it away for free. It's like a solid intro into crypto, setting up a wallet, everything, and it's free. I give it to you. So you want it, information in the description down below, and hopefully you'll educate yourself a little bit more. But once you start to dive into it, just remember that with this is such a cheesy thing, but in the famous words of Uncle Ben, with great power comes great responsibility. And so when you understand that Bitcoin and other potential crypto assets, digital assets, give you that economic power, okay, then it's your responsibility, right? And so we have things like hardware wallets, right? Like this is my Keystone wallet, nice little touchscreen thing. But I have now the control and the power with this. But if I lose it, if I mess up, if I screw up, if I don't do things the right way, if I invest my money in the wrong things or trade the wrong way or whatever, or not take care of it and I lose it, I lose my private keys, or store digital, I send it, but and whatever, and I do something stupid because I don't take that responsibility seriously, then, there could be serious consequences. So yes, Bitcoin gives you that economic power and freedom, but with that comes that responsibility. You need to understand how to use that power the right way, what to do with it and what not to do with it. So educate yourself, right? So that you can wield that power in the most effective way and be a good steward of that power. Because that's what life is all about. It's about being a good steward. It's about understanding that this life is a gift. God has given you a gift, the gift of time, the gift of a choice, right? He's given you many gifts, and he gives you these gifts, and it's up to you to decide how to use them, what you're going to do with them. You're going to waste them? You're going to leave them by the wayside and just whatever? Are you going to embrace these gifts? Are you going to use those gifts for something bad? Right? Or are you going to use these gifts for something better? To advance humanity, to advance yourself, to grow, to thrive. So when God puts resources in your hands, like money from a paycheck, what are you using it for? Yes, take care of your family and all that, but are you thinking about the future? Are you putting it away? Are you saving it and investing it? Are you doing something with it? When you understand that your job is to be a steward, a manager of the resources that God puts in your hands, whatever it is, now I'm talking about just money, I'm talking about just talents, time, whatever. Your job is to be a good steward and use it for the best thing that it possibly can. Use that tool to build something, to do something great with it, right? The children that you have, raise them up to be great men and women of God that can think for themselves, that are smart, that are productive, that are kind and caring and are willing to do things for the betterment of humanity, right? Like that's what you want to raise, good, thriving children into young, thriving adults, right? And so that they can go out and do the same thing. So be a good steward, right? Be a good steward of the resources that you have. Educate yourself and make sure you wield that power in the best way possible to give you the best outcome possible. All right. Last thing I want to talk about is a couple things. I want to talk about, actually, let's talk a little bit about ChatGPT, because ChatGPT, I've been using it a lot, and I've been using it to help me with some of my courses and some of my, I teach, different finance classes and stuff. I just did one last week about how to beat inflation, how to survive inflation. A lot of people are really struggling with inflation and how to teach it in Spanish. So I've been using a lot of ChatGPT to help me like craft different things. I'll take something and say, hey, how can I say this differently? Hey, give me the top 10 tips on, whatever. It's an amazing thing. And AI specifically is very, very promising and also very, very scary. Because again, that's the same thing, right? There's a lot of power that can come with AI systems. And I don't know if you guys heard, but Elon Musk and a whole bunch of science people and people in technology that are building out some of this stuff basically asked for a moratorium or a pause on further AI development for at least 6 months, so we can kind of get a better handle and figure out some maybe framework or structure to make sure these things just don't come online and could infect our entire system and take everything down. I mean, these could be self-fulfilled prophecies of what we've thought of, And I think a lot of things we think about them, we see them in movies and some futuristic thing, and years later we have that technology, like a cell phone, like video calling, whatever, right? Spaceships. So I think we have to be careful with that technology, and I think it could be great for humanity. I think it really help us, but it could also really hurt us. And we're already seeing everything change. Robotics, AI, everything's changing because of it. Siri, hey Google, right? Or hey Alexa, right? All these things are all these AI-based type of things that are listening to us, watching us, and seeing the repetition, the patterns, and then understanding, okay, this is the expected response, right? That's what these things are, just these learned language models or whatever, right? So, but they're going to get smarter. And quantum computing is they're going to get even better and faster and everything. So we just have to be careful, right? But ChatGPT is really cool. If you're not using it, I suggest you use it. I mean, the crazy thing, I think I heard a statistic that was something like the fastest adopted technology. Like within a month, they had like over 100 million people using this thing. Like instantly like that. It got released and it was booming. And so now there's a big boom, right? And even like in crypto, there's a bunch of AI coins, projects that are already going on for a long time. Look at like SingularityNet and things like that with their Ajax coin and NewNet and a bunch of things that they're doing. But it's just super interesting to me because I've always been fascinated by robotics. Even since I was a little kid, just the thought of it. I mean, Short Circuit, right? Johnny Five and these types of things. Like I thought about that. Like, what would it be like? What you guys remember the Lawnmower Man? That movie? Oh, that movie freaked me out. I was a kid, So, but I've always been fascinated by this and this idea that we could create life, that we could create another unique life form. I mean, it's one thing we give birth, whatever, it's a natural life order, but what if we created an intelligent, I wouldn't call it necessarily a being, right? Because I don't necessarily think it has a soul. But man, like where could this go? There's already people falling in love with their like AI things that they got going on and stuff. So like it's weird. Like there are people already talking about that. People are going to be bot sexual. They're going to be they were going to want to marry their robots and things like that. Like they're already talking about it. It's already like this stuff is coming. So like where do we draw the line? Where do we put the right types of guardrails to ensure the safety of humanity and for the long term, that there aren't unintended consequences? And I think that's just something that you need to be aware of, and I think that all of us need to be mindful of, right? So let's leave it at there because I want to talk more about AI. I'm gonna probably bring up some cool things that I'm looking at. Obviously Midjourney and some of these other cool AI things, but there's a lot of cool stuff happening, from being able to just simply write or talk to something and then create an entire movie scene or a digital picture of something. Like it's just amazing, right? So more stuff to come on AI and ChatGPT and some of these other things that are going on. The last thing I want to talk about the shooting in Tennessee a week ago. 6 people, 3 kids. It's a very, very sad thing. This mentally deranged, person went to the school, and like she was a trans person. I don't necessarily think that has anything to do. I think she was just mentally disturbed. But needless to say, she was, right? And she was a former student of that school. Who knows? Was she mad because maybe that, her faith, her family didn't accept, her lifestyle or something. And so, because it sounded like, faith was a big part of her life growing up, maybe she just felt like that was her way of getting back at them, right? And obviously she was dealing with whatever. She was taking, some type of medication for depression or whatever it was, seeing a therapist and things like that. So obviously she was struggling, right? And I'm not justifying what she did in any way, shape, or form, okay? But I think we need to understand, like, she's a human. She was dealing with whatever things, and I think we need to see, like, perhaps the choices that she was making in choosing the lifestyle that she was choosing, maybe it was weighing on her. I struggled with addiction my whole life. Let's just say I was living a very sinful life. Many, many different things, right? Whatever. But I struggled with it, and depression and anger and everything because, my history and getting kicked out when I was 15. So I struggled with things mentally for a long time. And, growing up in the church and having a strong faith, there was periods of times where I was doing good and I was living right, but obviously, actually living a good, righteous life, But when I would go into these dark phases of my life, when I would give in to the darkness and live in the darkness, live in sin, it would be mentally anguishing because the guilt, the condemnation, like all these things, and it would be depressing, and it would just be, you would want to continue to hurt yourself so that you would try to forget the fact that you are hurting yourself. It's like, it's a twisted thing in your mind. It happens, right? Especially with addictions and things like that. But when you're living that sinful lifestyle, there are things that you are blind to, you don't see, and you can get lost in that darkness. And sometimes, you lash out because you're the one that's hurting. You're the one that feels the pain, and you want others to feel the pain too. Subconsciously, consciously, whatever. And so that's what I've seen. That's been my experience. And so again, not trying to justify what she did in any way, shape, or form. I'm trying to rationalize how a person could bring themselves to that point where okay, she probably knew she was going to die. Potentially either she was going to probably, after she killed enough people, she was going to probably kill herself, or she was going to probably go out blasting, right? So if she's already resorted to that, right? So at that point, she's willing to just hurt as many people as possible, probably. And so you have to just understand, like, she's in that dark place, right? And so for someone to get to that point where they want to hurt someone else, not just themselves, but like someone else, like, that's a really dark place to be in, right? And there's a difference between someone who does it, like, I think in a moment of darkness, versus someone who is a sociopath, who is resorted and committed to just, they have no feeling, no remorse of hurting people, right? Of hurting people and things like that. I think a lot of these people that do these types of things, I don't think they're like that for the most part. I think they are going through something in that moment and they break. It's like people when they commit suicide, right? Something happens, like, where the straws, like that last thing happens, and just that's it, right? And they take their life. But it's these people that go another step further and say, I'm not only going to take my life, but I'm going to take some people with me. Yeah, you get into a really dark place. And I've been there, like, where I don't care. I'm just waiting for someone to say the wrong thing, look at me the wrong way, whatever, and someone's going to get hurt, you know? So I understand that. Now, the thing that really makes me angry, though, the thing that just, oh God, it just makes me so angry, is that instead of condemning what she did or whatever, and you know, you don't have to make it to the fact that she was trans or whatever. I think that's an ancillary subject, right? However, the timing is interesting because it had already been announced that following Saturday, and I think this thing happened on Monday or Tuesday of last week or something like that, right? But the Saturday that just passed, there was this Trans Vengeance Day. That's what they were calling it. That there was flyers going out there. It was all stuff, Trans Vengeance Day. So there was this talk in the trans community leading up to the shooting about how trans were going to go out and protest and have their day in the light of, you know, that we're here and we're not going to stand up for you hatred and all these laws against this whole thing that's going on in different states, against child transitioning and all that, right? Which is, I think it's entirely just different subject, right? And I really respect the Gays Against Groomers coming out and saying, like, hey, we shouldn't be letting kids do this stuff. We don't let them smoke or drink it, whatever. When they're kids, they shouldn't be making decisions about their making irreparable changes or permanent changes to their bodies, right? So anyways, so this stuff was going out there. So for this girl to just come out and just start blasting, was there a potential link? I think there's just too much coincidence to ignore it, but they did. And not only did they ignore it, they kind of went along with it and say, we need to give, you know, the trans community, you know, like, we need to support them, blah, blah, and not understanding that you have this whole segment, large, massive segment of your population, Christians, conservatives, who are grieving, okay? Regardless of the gun agenda, regardless of any of that, 6 people have just been killed, 3 kids. I think they were all under 11 or something like that. You misread the room. I talk in front of people, right? And I'm in leadership, and I always teach my people and salespeople in my sales team and stuff. I say, hey, know your audience. Know who you're talking to. Look at their body language. See how they're receiving what you're saying. Like, you need to change. If you need to pivot, you need to understand the room. Read the room. Know your audience. I think the entire media, Biden administration, everyone failed, and they should have left, like, some time to grieve, solace, comfort the people, the family, this entire community of Christians before you went out there and defended and basically showed sympathy for this woman as a trans person, instead of saying, hey, she was dealing with stuff and we need to show her grace and her family. But no, I think we missed a huge opportunity. I think Biden missed a huge opportunity, and it just makes me very angry that they decided to go that route and to celebrate this person. And then you got the whole Mulvaney thing and on Bud Light and all this promotion and everything this whole week, right? And remember, then they changed the day of vengeance to day of visibility because they knew what they were saying, right? Like, what's wrong? Like, you can't be out here saying that we're going to be blasting people and we're going to come back and kill you all after one of yours just killed 6 people, 3 kids. You guys misread the room. I know you guys don't care. You guys are probably going to hate me, but that's okay. I'm just letting you know how I felt, and I was really angry about that. You guys missed an opportunity to unite the country. We should be trying to unite, not trying to divide each other. We have differences of opinions of how we want to live. Okay, fine. But there are common things that we can all agree on. We can agree to condemn that type of violence. Don't make it about the guns. Let's make it about the fact that someone made a decision to hurt someone else. Whatever they decided to use to do it, they still made the decision to hurt someone. They could have used anything. Now, yes, there was more damage done because of guns. I don't argue with that. I'm not going to argue that. I think it's stupid for us to try to sit here and say that, no, you could do the same amount of damage with the knife as with the gun. Well, it depends, right? The situation. But you could probably hurt a lot more people at a much further distance with a gun than you could a knife. So, I'm not calling for gun control or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that let's not focus on the guns. Let's focus on the fact that there's a real mental problem in this country, and no one seems to be really wanting to do anything about that. We're pumping people full of drugs. We've got all these people hurting, a lot of negativity. What do you expect is going to happen? You move morality out of schools. You tell kids that they're animals. You tell kids that they come from monkeys. You tell kids that there's no God, that it's whatever. People are going to do whatever they want. You tell kids that they're an accident, their life doesn't matter, is basically what you're saying, because you're just an accident. You came out of the primordial ooze, and it's only by accident that there's even life on this planet. So the kid grows up thinking, no, there's no point to life. So what do I care if I kill someone? There's no point to their life, or my life for that matter. You see what I'm saying? You see where this goes? So anyways, look, there's a lot of things that, you guys, that we could be, throwing at this and trying to solve or whatever. But I think we just need to get back to those basics of human decency, of understanding that, like, we need to deal with the person. We need to deal with people's hearts, deal with people's minds, get people right, get people strong, mentally, right? Mentally, emotionally first, spiritually first. If you get people spiritually, emotionally, mentally strong first, then you could deal with whatever other things. You can help them get through whatever other things. Because if you get them in a positive mindset, the right mindset, the optimistic mindset, just that they can accomplish anything, you set them loose, and now they're off and running, and they're making magic. And they're accomplishing great things in their life. And they're not dealing with this depression, or they learn how to deal with it. Whatever. Meditation, mindfulness, whatever. But that's where it starts. That spiritual, emotional, and mental strength. I wrote a book. It's back here, actually. You guys know I wrote this book, The Alpha Plan. And that's basically what I talk about in this book. And I'm not trying to show the book. It just happened to think about as I'm talking about this. But that's one of the things I talk about. That's where it starts. It starts with your spiritual and mental health. And after you do that, then pretty much everything else seems to kind of come easy. So hopefully that'll give you some things to think about, some things to talk about, because I think these are important subjects. And just, whatever your stance is, just know it, understand it. Be willing to listen, though. Be willing to open your mind and hear other people's perspective. And if you get new information and you understand that maybe you didn't have everything clear, or that you learned something new, be willing to grow a pair and have a backbone. So, you know what? I was wrong, and I've got this new information. And you know what? This is, I think, the way I need to think. This is the right decision. This is the way we need to go. So even though you may have not voted for Trump, even though you hate him and his character and the way his demeanor, whatever, understand that our country was in a much better place when he was president. And the way that they're attacking him is wrong for any American citizen. Because if they do it to him, the former president of the United States, the man with the highest power in the entire world, if they're going after him and they're not afraid and they don't care, what would they do to you? Right? What would they do to you with no power, with no money? Just saying. All right, everyone. God bless you. Hope you guys are killing it out there. This has been Angel Bond. This is the Faith Tech Finance Show. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.